I shouldn't have opened that door. Not at that hour. Not with my heart beating like it wanted to escape my ribs. And definitely not with the kind of hunger sitting low in my belly, the kind I had no business feeling for a man who wasn't my husband. But when I pulled the door open and saw him standing there, jacket half-zipped, eyes hooded, breathing like he'd sprinted through the night just to reach me, I forgot every promise I'd ever whispered to myself. "Are you alone?" he asked, voice deep and quiet, like he already knew the answer. I nodded. He stepped inside. The door clicked shut. The air changed. And suddenly, the midnight I had tried to avoid, swallowed me whole. His fingers grazed mine, innocent at first. Then intentional. Then dangerous. I whispered, please don't start something we can't undo." He leaned closer, lips grazing my jaw, his breath warm against my neck. "I didn't come here to undo anything," he murmured. "I came here because you're the only thing I can't stop wanting." That sentence alone should have sent me running. Instead, it glued my feet to the floor. His hand cupped my waist. My body betrayed me. My heart betrayed me. Everything inside me leaned toward him. As if his touch was the oxygen I'd been starving for. Before anything else happened. Before desire made me forget every line I once respected. I need to say this. Backhand index pointing right if you're listening, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this story. More true, raw, forbidden confessions like this one are coming. Now, let me take you back to how the whole thing started. Because midnight mistakes don't just happen out of nowhere. They grow in silence, in loneliness, in the cracks of a marriage you pretend is still whole. How I met him. It began 4 months earlier. In a grocery store of all places. I was pushing a cart, comparing pasta brands, pretending life wasn't falling apart at home. My husband had become a ghost who lived in my house. Silent at dinner, distracted in bed, and always too tired to notice me anymore. I didn't plan to look at another man. I definitely didn't plan for another man to look back. But he did. He was leaning against the fruit display, phone in hand, eyes drifting toward me with the kind of slow interest that sinks under your skin before you even notice. I tried to ignore him. But when I reached for a pack of strawberries and it slipped, bouncing to the floor. He stepped forward, picked it up, and handed it to me with a lazy smile. "You look like someone who deserves sweeter things than this," he said. I should have walked away. Instead, I blushed. At my age. A blush from a stranger should have been impossible. From that moment, he kept appearing in my week like a pattern I subconsciously invited. Coffee shop door held open, gym doorway, parking lot wave, the accidental grocery aisle again. And every time, he looked at me like I wasn't fading. Like I wasn't invisible. Like I wasn't a wife whose body was turning cold in a marriage that no longer touched her. One afternoon, he said the words that weakened me more than I'd admit. "You have this quiet sadness in your eyes. And I don't know why, but I want to fix it." No man should say that to a married woman. No married woman should feel that much warmth from hearing it. And yet, I did. Where everything shifted. It was a rainy Thursday evening. My husband texted he wasn't coming home. Work emergency. I stared at the message for a long, empty minute. Then I found myself calling the one person who shouldn't have mattered. The one whose voice had been echoing in my head for weeks. He answered on the first ring. "You sound lonely," he said. "Maybe," I whispered. "Maybe I am. Should I come over?" My silence was my answer. A silence that rewrote my life. Back to that midnight. When he pulled me close, my knees almost gave out. His lips brushed mine, soft and hesitant, as if waiting for permission I couldn't say out loud. But my body said it for me. The kiss that followed. The one that should never have happened. Felt like drowning in warmth after months of cold. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was betrayal. I knew the morning would punish me. But in that midnight hour, with his hands exploring the parts of me my husband had forgotten, I didn't feel married. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel like someone who belonged to anyone. I just felt wanted. Tragically, beautifully, desperately wanted. And that was the beginning of the secret that turned me into his midnight favorite. And eventually, his morning misfortune. I wish I could tell you that I fought it. That I resisted him the way a married woman should. But the truth is simple, comfort became craving, and craving became the chain that dragged me straight into his arms. I remember the exact night everything shifted. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even meant to happen. It was just the dangerous softness between us. The text that ruined my balance. It was 11:47 p.m. I was lying beside my husband, who slept as if the world owed him peace. Meanwhile, I stared at the ceiling, tired of being unseen, untouched, and unconsidered. Then my phone buzzed. A short message. Are you awake? Him. I swallowed. My heart should have said no. My fingers said yes. Yeah. Can't sleep. His reply came instantly, like he had been waiting. Step outside. My whole body turned warm, and not from fear. The first fall. I stepped out to the porch wearing an oversized t-shirt and shame hidden under it. He was already standing near his car, leaning like he owned midnight. Come here, he whispered. Just 2 words. 2 tiny, destructive words. I moved to him, too fast to be innocent, too slow to deny wanting it. When he touched my face, everything inside me shifted. It wasn't just lust. It was attention. It was hunger. It was someone finally choosing me. Why are you shaking? He murmured. Because I shouldn't be here. But you are. He brushed his thumb across my mouth, and I swear, my knees gave up their job. Before I knew it, I was pressed against his chest, breathing in danger like it was oxygen. He tasted like mint and trouble. He kissed like a man who had memorized my fears and replaced them with fire. It was slow at first, teasing, testing, awakening. And then he kissed me deeper. A kiss that felt like a question and an answer at the same time. That was the moment I fell. Not to the ground. But into him. A craving with consequences. After that night, I tried to act normal. I cooked breakfast for my husband. I cleaned the kitchen. I smiled at neighbors. But my mind was no longer living at home. It had moved into that man's hands. His voice. His breath. His late-night texts. And he knew it. He knew the power he had. One day, he sent a message that made my entire body respond before my brain could think. You felt safe in my arms last night. Don't pretend you didn't. Safe. That word tore me apart. Because he wasn't supposed to be my safety. He wasn't supposed to be anything. But he became everything. I tried to stay away. And ended up craving him like a secret drug. I told myself it was just physical. Just a moment. Just a mistake. But every time he spoke, my resistance collapsed like wet paper. The night I chose him again. 2 weeks after our first kiss, something snapped inside me. My husband came home angry, again. Complaining, again. Ignoring me, again. Walking past me like I was furniture, again. I just stood there, holding a plate of food he didn't even look at. That night, I sent him the message. Are you awake? His reply came fast. Always for you. Just like that, the road from comfort to craving became a road with no return. By 1 a.m., I was in his apartment. Shaking, wanting, lost, and willingly falling into the same arms that should have scared me. But nothing about him scared me. What scared me was how much I needed him. And how easily he made me forget everything else. I should have stopped the night his hands trembled when he touched me. I should have walked away the moment I felt his breath, too warm, too desperate, against my skin. But the truth? I didn't stop. I didn't walk. In fact, I leaned in. I fed the craving. Because by then, I wasn't just his midnight favorite. I had already become the secret that ruined his mornings. The first sign came at 2:17 a.m. My phone buzzed violently under my pillow. I jolted awake, thinking it was an emergency. But no. It was him. Mason. Again. You up? I stared at the message, heart pounding in that stupid, excited way it always did. My husband was asleep right next to me, snoring softly, dead to the world. And yet, the man who had touched me only hours earlier. The man whose scent still clung to my jacket. The man who tasted like danger mixed with desire. He wanted me again. I whispered into the dark, "This is getting too much." But my fingers? They were typing back before I could stop them. Yes. What's wrong? His answer came instantly. I need you. Now. The craving in his words was sharp enough to cut through reason. Before I continue, please remember to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss the next twist in this dangerous mess I put myself in. He started showing up everywhere. At the store. In the parking lot. Outside my gym. Once, outside my home. I told him he couldn't do that. But when I confronted him, he didn't even pretend to be sorry. He just stood there with that reckless, hungry look he saved only for me. You started this, he whispered, stepping too close. You lit the fire. I'm only trying to breathe in the smoke. His fingers brushed my wrist, and my whole body betrayed me, melting into his touch like I was made of wax. I wasn't innocent in this. Every time he called, I answered. Every time he wanted me, I gave in. Every time he said my name like it was a secret prayer. I became weaker. But obsession isn't beautiful. Not when it comes from someone who forgets there are consequences. One night, he cornered me in the hallway outside his apartment. Tell me you don't want me to, he murmured. I opened my mouth to speak. But all that came out was a breathy, shameful whisper. I can't. And that was all he needed. His hands were on my waist. His lips pressed to my neck like he was trying to claim me. His breath was heavy, rushed, almost shaking. He wasn't kissing me because he missed me. He was kissing me because he couldn't control himself anymore. It scared me. It excited me. It ruined me. The obsession grew. And so did the danger. He stopped caring about timing. Or consequences. Or sanity. He wanted me in the middle of the night. And the early morning too. But the worst moment came one Saturday morning. My husband was in the shower. I was making breakfast. Then my phone lit up. A picture. Not of me. But of the door to my house. A message followed. Let me see you. 5 minutes. I'm outside. My blood froze. Not with fear. With recognition. The craving had finally turned into something else. Something darker. Something possessive. Something dangerous. And I knew. I wasn't just his midnight favorite anymore. I had become the thing he thought he deserved. The thing he refused to lose. His craving for me was becoming a threat to everything I loved. Including myself. If you're still here with me, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Chapter 4 gets even deeper, darker, and more intense than this, trust me. I always thought the night was our hiding place. Our little blanket of darkness where his hands felt free. Where my body answered without fear. Where we became two selfish souls feeding on forbidden warmth. But morning was always the truth I tried to outrun. And this morning, the truth finally caught me. He stood in front of me, shirt half buttoned, hair still wet from the shower, the smell of my perfume still clinging to his skin. But his eyes, those soft, sinful eyes that used to melt me, were different. Colder. Sharper. Almost afraid. "I can't keep doing this with you," he whispered. I laughed, thinking he was joking. He never said no to me. Not when I called him at midnight. Not when I begged him with trembling hands. Not when he swore I was the sweetness his home never gave him. But he wasn't joking. Not today. "I messed up," he continued. I told her. I froze. His wife. The woman he always claimed was too busy, too distant, too uninterested. The woman he said he'd leave one day. The woman who was never supposed to know I existed. "What did you tell her?" I asked, voice shaking. "That I fell for someone else." "Someone." "Not you." "Someone." He couldn't even say my name. My heart split quietly, no loud crack, no dramatic explosion, just a slow, painful tearing like fabric being ripped by hand. "Why are you doing this to me now?" I whispered. "Because she gave me a choice," he murmured. "Choose her. Or lose everything." "And me?" I asked. "What happens to me?" His silence was my answer. I became his midnight favorite. Now I was his morning misfortune. A reminder of his weakest hours. A secret he wanted to forget. A sweetness he suddenly called a mistake. He stepped closer, touched my cheek, and for a second I thought he'd change his mind. But his touch felt like a goodbye disguised as compassion. "I'm sorry," he said. And sorry never felt so violent. He walked away, leaving the door half open, just enough for the cold air to rush in and remind me that everything warm between us had ended. I thought heartbreak would come with loud crying, throwing things, begging. Instead, it came with stillness. A quiet numbness settling between my ribs. A realization that I had given my body, my trust, my secrets, my nights, to a man who could erase me in the morning. But here's the twist, my unexpected ending. I didn't chase him. I didn't call. I didn't beg. I didn't fall apart. I simply stood up, washed the evidence of him off my skin, looked at my reflection, and saw a woman who survived something she never should have entered. He lost me. Not the other way around. I became his midnight favorite. He became my biggest lesson. And that is the ending neither of us expected.